This is the smallest flash I've ever used, and it's opened up all sorts of exciting creative options for my photography. Look at him, he's so cute. A quick review because while I've tested this sucker out extensively, the unit's really simple. I mean, it's got one button. But before that, a quick note in the spirit of full disclosure, Reflex Lab very generously sent me this mini flash to try out, but this is not a collaborative or affiliated video in any way. They aren't seeing this video beforehand, and these are my thoughts after a few months of using this thing. For me, it's really come in clutch with live music photography. It's inspired me to get more experimental with my slow shutter speed work. I've been absolutely obsessed with using it for shutter drags at shows. One of my favorite combos right now is using this flash with my TT Artisan's fisheye lens. I am consistently blown away by the results. Now obviously this isn't the first flash I've ever owned, but the size of it makes it hard not to take it along, even when I don't think I'm gonna need it. It's small enough to fit into that weird little coin pocket that no one uses, so why not bring it? And the beauty of that is then you have it with you. And your brain goes, well, I don't want to bring this thing and not use it, so I do. And it's generally awesome. I spent the majority of my time using this flash in full manual mode. As far as I can tell, and please correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, you can't use TTL metering with this flash, so no flash compensation. You can use exposure compensation if you shoot in something like shutter or aperture priority mode. Then you can just use the tried and true guess and check method. I found that f4 1/250th at ISO 400 is a good place to start. Then you can shoot a test shot and adjust accordingly. Just make sure you're keeping your camera's flash sync speed in mind. If you exceed your camera's sync speed, your flash won't sync, and then you'll get photos that aren't lit all the way. Not that I did anything like that while I was using my K1000. The flash is plenty strong. You get that harsh disposable camera look since it's just a head-on blast of light to your subject. It has an on-off switch and a button to test fire the flash. That is it. Call this flash jack because it is simple. The recovery time for this flash is listed as 2 seconds according to their website, which might be an issue for some. I never really found it to be a problem in my use case, but then again, I'm not exactly blasting off photos in super rapid succession either. Let's quickly talk pros and cons. The Reflex Lab Mini Flash is cheap, coming in at 50 bucks. It's friggin' tiny.
That's what she said.
It's like the size of a few SD cards stacked on one another. It is crazy. It feels well assembled and not at all cheap. There is a design flaw though. More on that shortly. It works on almost every camera I've tested with, except for this one. That's a bummer. According to Reflex Lab, a single charge is good for about 300 flashes. I didn't count to verify. But it charges via USB, and it does so pretty quickly, I might add, coming in around less than half an hour in my experience. Now we gotta talk about the not so good. On their website, Reflex Lab shows this on smaller cameras like the Ricoh GR whatever, which is cool, but I don't have a Ricoh GR whatever. On slightly bigger cameras like the Fuji X-T4 or the Sony A7 Mark III, longer lenses will get in the way and cast a shadow onto your image. Depending on how girthy the lens is, this could be negligible or photo ruining. Another issue is you can't control the strength of the flash, it's just a set intensity that you have to work with. But in my experience, the biggest issue is the fact there's no nut on this thing, so you can't tighten it onto your camera's shoe, hence it falls off pretty regularly if you aren't careful. And I'm not careful, so I've knocked it off numerous times.
I realized just now that my Reflex Lab flash is missing. Hey, so that's the flash. It fell off my camera into the snow.
Hey look man, it was fine. I hope Reflex Lab doesn't want this flash back. I used this flash at a wedding I shot recently, and while it did last the whole day, it was good for the shoot, it did fall off my camera like 6 times. Alright, just one more, and this one's probably my favorite. I went to see the Silver Metal play. My friend and I were passing this flash back and forth. I let him hang on to it while I was mainly using my GA645ZI. Then he went to pee, and he returned with this look on his face. The band was playing and we couldn't really hear each other, so he just typed out on his phone that he dropped my flash on the cursed bathroom floor. So it was definitely in pee. On the bright side, it still works, but the flash definitely has gonorrhea now. Here are the 2 big things you really need to know. First and foremost, this is a fun, convenient tool. It's not perfect, but guess what? It does what it needs to do well enough. I felt very inspired by it. It pushed me out of my comfort zone, and I'm so glad it did. I genuinely took some of my favorite recent portraits using this flash. This is something that should come with you on literally every single shoot. Second, and probably more important, understand what you're buying. fine. For the price, you're not getting a top-of-the-line flash with all the bells and whistles, you're getting a bare-bones simple flash, and for many people, that's all they need. If you need a flash that offers more manual control and customization, this might not be the one for you though. The Reflex Lab Mini Flash gets a big recommend from me. Throwing it into the Owen Wilson rating system, I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. If you understand its limitations, you will have an absolute blast with this thing. Thanks for watching, bye!
Like and subscribe. Sweet Loop Photography. Domain.